Hello and welcome to another managerial special from the Honest Football Podcast. We are back on a Sunday afternoon with an impromptu start to our usual single header. It's now a double header because Fleetwood Town, after the interim appointment of Simon Wiles, have changed their mind and gone for Simon Grayson on a deal till the end of the season. Plenty of experience and a lot to cover there. So I'm joined by Craig as always, and we will discuss the outgoing manager, Joey Barton, of course, from the start of January, and the incoming Simon Grayson. So first things first, Craig, we'll go in the order we normally do. Joey Barton left the club on the 4th of January. It basically looked like a sacking in the way it was done. And I think it would be fair to say it probably wasn't ruled by on-the-pitch decisions or actions, because Fleetwood were doing okay. They had a good year under him last year. But off the pitch, is it fair to say it was possibly just one controversy too many?
Yeah, well, I think we knew about Joey Barton as a person from years gone by when he was a player, and I presume the chairman, Andy Philly, might have known that it was a risk.
Yeah.
I think, to take someone like Joey Barton, obviously, and plus, to be fair, it was Joey Barton's first managerial role. I thought he'd done quite well.
Yeah.
When you look back on it, obviously Fleetwood, as high as they have ever been in the Football League. I know they've been in League One. Obviously, they've been players before. Obviously, they lost out to Wycombe in the playoffs last season. Obviously, with points per game, I don't think they would have played Wycombe, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, credit where credit's due. Fleetwood as a club, they've risen through the ranks over the years. And on the field, it was good. Off the field, it obviously had the controversy from a couple of seasons ago with Daniel Stendhal at Barnsley. So, and obviously that was going to happen, and we didn't get the Fleetwood documentary that we all promised about as well. Don't know if that played a part. And then, and obviously something's happened in the start of January, obviously regarding Ched Evans, and obviously he's moved on to Preston North End now, and obviously now Joey Barton's got the sack.
Yeah, I think it's an unfortunate way for it to end, because as you say, on the pitch, he was doing a good job and proving a fair few people wrong. But off the pitch, I think it's something a lot of us saw coming. But I don't want to dwell on that too much. You've talked about the main instance that affected it. I guess we do need to talk about the little in-between period with Fleetwood, because they went, as we've talked about before with Bradford, I guess Sheffield Wednesday are a good example further up the EFL now. This interim manager's becoming a lot more popular. I guess we know as Luton fans with Mick Harford more than anyone how successful it can be. It can be a good saver financially, but with Simon Wiles, 2 draws from 6 games and 4 defeats, out of the EFL trophy, the only league points were 0-0 draws against Wigan and Northampton, both struggling at the bottom. Is it fair to say that after that spell, the chairman probably had to act?
Yeah, I think he had to act. Obviously, something needed to change. Just looking at their record right now, obviously, they can't score now. They haven't scored in the last 3 games. Obviously, haven't won since start of December, or middle of December, should I say. So something had to be done. It needed to change, and obviously, when you lose a goal scorer like Ched Evans, all right, we won't go into his personal life because that doesn't need to in this channel. But he's a good striker at the end of the day, and him going, the goals have dried up, and it wasn't working for him. Obviously, literally one more day left of the transfer window. I can't see him getting another striker. I'd be amazed if a new manager gets a new striker, but. Yeah, I think he needed someone new. He needed someone, obviously, different ideas. Look who they got. They got someone with really good experience.
Yeah, and that's it. We better move on to the new man, because it is a name that is, I would say, very well known across the EFL. Simon Grayson obviously has been at big clubs, the likes of Leeds, as probably most notably, has been at Blackpool, locally to Fleetwood, of course, too. And probably most remarkably, and the main thing that Fleetwood were keen to get across in a very brief initial statement about an hour ago, is 4 promotions from League One on his CV. That's got to have played a role in his decision, hasn't it?
Well, it does prove that he's very well known in League One, despite him probably saying he's a championship manager. But no, I think it's a solid appointment, to be honest. Yeah. Okay, his last few jobs haven't gone well, but they were under cloudy circumstances. Obviously, Blackpool, the owner problem was there with Blackpool. The fans weren't turning up. Obviously, they were boycotting from the owners. Sunderland, it was just a toxic club. Obviously, he took over when they got relegated from the Premier League.
Well, he's not the only man that failed there, is he, to be fair?
No, and obviously it was just toxic anyway. Like David Moyes failed and Chris Coleman was after Simon Grayson. But but you got to forget them 2 flips as a manager. Look at his, except 4 promotions, obviously he took Leeds up when they were desperate to get up at that time. The massive club Leeds, and look where they are now. They wouldn't be there today if it wasn't for him.
Agreed.
Because if they were stuck in League One for another season, it would just been rotten to the core. Similar. I don't know why I keep going back to Luton for these manager specials, but it would have been the same as Luton, obviously being stuck in National League.
Yeah,
it was starting to get a bit wrong, but obviously he turned it around, got it done, got him up on the final day, and look where Leeds are now. Preston as well. Took him up from the playoffs. Obviously, he got his main man, Jermaine Beckford, in for him. But Preston, obviously, was a big club in League One at the time. So, yeah, fantastic record. It's just a little bit. But I think he's a good coach.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the one thing I would point out from the statement, the thing that probably, I guess I would say surprised me to an extent with a club like Fleetwood who have been planning long-term all this time, but I guess shows the impact of the financial situation in the EFL, is the deal's only till the end of the season. Now, I'm sure that probably suits both parties at the minute, but I guess that is probably a direct impact to the finances, because if things don't work out, clubs probably at League 1 and 2 level can't afford to pay managers off now, can they?
No, and obviously with the pandemic going on, no crowds at the stadiums, no obviously money come through apart from the season tickets if they've done that way up, shouldn't they have? Yeah, it's hard to obviously put the manager on a high wage and you're going to guarantee like a 2.5-year contract or 1.5 year or whatever like that. So Fleetwood are a well-run club anyway. I think what we've seen from the conference years, they've been well-run, worked the way up through the system. Obviously, they had Jamie Vardy, for example. Obviously, they got the money from that, and that pretty much helped them as well. So it looks like it's a well-run club. I think it's a safe decision to go to the end of the season. So I don't think Simon Grayson will want to have a 2.5-year deal. I don't think he want to commit too much too early. But I think see how the season goes and go back again in the summer and we'll speak about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does leave the small risk of if things go very well that he's then open for a bigger offer. But as you say, it's probably more likely to benefit Fleetwood overall. I guess we need to talk a little bit about on the pitch what he's inherited, though. We mentioned that poor run that was under Simon Wiles in interim charge, and it means they're actually now as close to the relegation zone as they are the playoffs, 9 points either way. They're in 14th in the league. I guess we're lucky that it's us two and not Charlie here, as he's the man who predicted them for the playoffs. We'll talk a little bit about the specifics on the pitch in a minute and the areas for concern, but which side do you see them drifting towards? And do you think they can still mount a chase going upwards?
They can push up. I think what we've seen, especially this season with all three leagues, is that like you get on that run and then you back up there. It's like a few months ago, we were saying Oxford are struggling in League One because then they were unlucky in the playoff final. And now they've gone on an amazing run and they're up there fighting for the playoffs again. So it can literally go either way with Fleetwood. I think they'll be fine. I generally do. But yeah, I think that I can see them progressing. I think they just need to tweak a few things, be more positive going forward now. Then I think Simon Grayson can change it around.
Yeah, he's definitely the right man for that, in my opinion. I guess moving towards the specific things, I think one of the things we've got to look at is they're a bit unusual this season in the sense that they've got a far better home record than away record, which without fans has been unusual. They've got the second best home defensive record in the league. And overall, they've scored 29 and conceded 23. So their defensive record's excellent. But goals and points on the road are definitely the two areas for addressing, aren't they?
Yeah, I think if you look at the last, obviously, on this barren run since they obviously last beat the last one of the game against Swindon, obviously they've drawn the next three and then losing a goal, obviously, apart from the Milton Keynes game. But there's not many goals in there since December. Not many goals in it at all, but starting in here, there, and everywhere. So, yeah, it's a weird one. It's very weird for, like, we do these matches especially that they're either doing really well or they're doing really bad. This one's right in the middle, and maybe Joey Barton's presence at the time, how he probably geared his team up to get them focused into these games, probably has worked, and it just hasn't worked for the guy. Maybe motivational skills could be probably slightly different. Obviously, it's going to be slightly different than Joey Barton's anyway, so it just hasn't seemed to work. And I think I think players have lost confidence. Obviously, we've seen Ched Evans go because they have lost those sort of goals, but someone needs to step up now. Callum Campbell at the moment is top goal scorer for them with 10, and then Harvey Saunders on 8, and then Paddy Madden as well on 7. But then after Ched Evans, it's down to 3, 2, 1. So not many players really are stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, and before we move on to the final question about our thoughts for the rest of the season, I guess the one man they've sort of earmarked for that is Carl Vassell, who's come into the club on loan for the rest of the season. Is he potentially the solution? Because you mentioned the fact that they're probably unlikely to get someone in, a day and a half before the window closes. So is he potentially the answer, or is it already in-house, or do they not have it? What's your opinion?
Carl Vassell's a very good signing, to be fair, on loan from Rotherham. Obviously, just looking at his record, obviously done brilliantly for Blackpool. 63 appearances and 22 goals, but then at Rotherham, been there for 2.5 years and only 4 goals. It's a good signing, in my opinion, but I don't. If you're going to bring back the old Carl Vassell from Blackpool days, I think if you can bring that back, it'd be fantastic. But 5 games in now, and he hasn't scored yet, so it is quite worrying.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we move on, Craig, to our favourite part of these episodes, which is I guess it's a two-parter on this one based on the length of the contract. The first one is our regular one, which is you and I didn't have them to be in the playoffs. We didn't have them to go down. We didn't have them to be anywhere in a worry at either end. Charlie did have them in the playoffs, as we alluded to earlier. But talking about position, with them 14th in the moment, whereabouts do you think they're going to finish with just under half a season under Simon Grayson?
I don't think they'll go down. I think there probably is a bit of a gap from what we've seen so far. I think there's probably about 6 teams in it. I don't think Fleetwood will be there. They won't be near it. The worry for the playoffs is I think they've got too much. I know it's that 9-point gap between both sides, but I think it's just a bit too much for them at the moment to be in there, I think, come the end of the season. To be honest, obviously the 14th at the moment, I can see going up higher a couple of places, but nothing special. Probably about 11th, I'll say.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think one of the things to bear in mind as well is bar Hull, who are top, the rest of the top 6 have played less games than them as well. So that's going to have an impact too, because it could be more than 9 points. But I agree. I think they'll sneak up into the top half. I think they'll be somewhere between sort of 9th and 12th. But I think the playoffs is going to be a bit too soon. I guess moving on to the last question is potentially what Fleetwood fans are hoping for is a blistering start, a positive end to the season. And then in that case, is Simon Grayson the right appointment and will he be here next season?
Well, the next league game for Fleetwood is vitally important. I think, obviously, new manager, you want that new manager bounce.
Yeah.
We have seen it with some teams. We haven't seen it with, with all of them. So, the thing is, they've got Bristol Rovers next. Obviously, they've been a bit mixed since Paul Tisdale's come in. So, get that first win out of the way, get some goals in, get confidence to be brewing again. So, I think Simon Grayson will do well. Nothing special. I think if he does get a new contract for next season, I can see him being up there again.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think this is a really clever appointment. It's just a shame that it's probably come a week or so too late, as they were playing those relegation rivals earlier. But I am inclined to agree with you. I think Simon Grayson is the right man for the club. I think there's plenty of reason for optimism for the Fleetwood fans. And I'll also stick my neck on the line and say I'm pretty sure he'll be here next season as well. But that's all for this episode. A pretty impromptu managerial special thanks to Fleetwood Town on a Sunday afternoon as well. Thank you to Craig for joining me as always. If you did enjoy the video, please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for regular content from the Honest Football Podcast. Midweek championship predictions probably later on this evening. So keep your eyes peeled for those as well. Let us know your thoughts if you're a Fleetwood fan. Are you looking forward to seeing Simon Grayson in charge? And do you think he'll be there beyond the end of the season? But a big thank you for watching this one as always. You can follow us and stay up to date on Twitter @HonestFootball3. And we'll see you next time.